I just finished grading your homework 2s, and so what I found is that many of you got that concept, but several of you misunderstood it. So when at the question 9, when I asked, does is your research report that you mentioned in question 8, is it experimental or observational study? And then many of you said, well, it sounds convincing, so I guess it was experimental. No, that's not the definition of experimental. Remember in lecture 2, basic science concepts, I explained that to be an experimental study, it has to be double blind, in order to be taken seriously. And double blind means 2 blinds. The single blind is that you take 2 groups of people, minimum, at least 2, split them up, give one the thing that's the food item that's being studied, and then give the other something else that looks exactly the same, tastes exactly the same, in the same exact amounts, but it's not the same food. It tricks them into thinking it's the same, but it's not. And that's single blind. And then the researcher has to not know who got what in order to be a double blind, to avoid conflicts of interest, researcher bias. Only after that has been accomplished can you call it an experimental study. Giving people books, diaries or journal books, and asking them to list what they eat day after day, there is no way to control that. You cannot force people to eat the food and then somebody else to not eat the food without keeping them in jail, imprisoning them, keeping them in cages. So that's unethical, it's illegal, it's impossible. People do not respond well to imprisonment. So food to health effects, relationships among humans are almost impossible to get an experimental study on. Anytime you see an article talking about the health effects of a food, whether it's good or bad, it's most likely an observational study. But by being an observational study, it means they could not do a double-blind test, and therefore they cannot prove anything. It cannot be proven. There can only be acknowledged that there are associations, links, risk factors, but there cannot be cause. So for those of you who lost points for saying that a food to other effect was experimental, and then you say the effect was proven because they saw these associations. No, association is not proof.